going to be making some ATCs, which stands for Artist Trading Cards. ATCs are made from most any kind of medium that you want to use. Many people use watercolors, they'll use acrylics. Their drawings can be done with pencils or pens or ink, even markers. There's people that are making collages with them. You can go on to any social media thing and scroll through and you would probably find some people making ATCs or ACEOs, which also stands for Art Cards, Editions, and Originals. But today I'm just going to be making some using some stencils. It's just a fun, easy way. I'm not going to be trading these. They're called Artist Trading Cards, but I'm not going to be trading them. I just like to make them for my journals and scrapbooks. But people will make these. Sometimes you can have a painter, an artist painter, and they'll even sign the back of them with their signature, the date, the title of the piece, and what medium they used. But these are just going to be some little fun ones. Before I get into these, let me show you a couple of these other ones. These are both made with stencils, and these were just done with a watercolor background. And then I used a bird stencil. And then this one here was just a little sailboat stencil, and I just did the watercolor background on the end. So when I did these, I kind of taped off the edges with just a little bit of washi tape that I could just peel up easily. So it kind of gave it a border, which is just a little bit different than what I did on this one. But those are a couple of those samples. And I also did this one with a watercolor. It's just a little flower. With the blue behind it. And then I did this one, just messing around, and I did this and had an old book page in the back and just glued it to a piece of cardstock and did some watercolors and just some pen and ink on top of it. And here's three. My daughter kind of joined in with me. We just had fun messing with these a while back, and she made these three little cats. Isn't that cute? And she did the same border technique. There's that one. And then these little guys. And then here's the third one. So this is just a little bit addicting. Once you start making them, they're just quick and easy and so much fun. So for today's, we're going to be using some black cardstock, and then I've got this paper here that I'm using. And what I looked for, I didn't want to mess with the watercolors or pulling out my paints today. So I went through my paper and I found one that kind of had a gradient to it. Let me pull this out a little bit more so you can see this better. But it's got a little bit of a gradient, so it's lighter and gets darker. And a lot of times I have, when I'm flipping through my scrapbook pads, there's pages in here like this, and I'm like, what am I going to do with that? But anyhow, I thought this would be good because I liked the way it went from light to dark, kind of like, maybe on these, how this one kind of has the gradients in it with a different color behind it compared to just a plain blue or green or something behind it. Anyhow, this is what I use, and all ATC sizes are cut down to 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches. That's just the standard size, which is like a baseball card size. And so we're going to start out by doing that. Let me move these off to the side. And I am starting with just a black sheet. And then I'm going to cut my other paper just a little bit shorter than that. But I want this to be the background part of it because I like the way that the black on here, this makes the black on there pop even more. So that's the way I'm doing it. And I'm going to go to 2.5. Oops. I didn't cut that very straight. This has got a bent up edge, so I am going to knock that off real quick. And then we'll carry on. So 2.5 by 3.5. Alright, there we go, and that's simple enough. Move all this. So there's the 2.5 by 3.5 background, and then I've already cut this one, which is just a little, I cut it down just a little bit shorter than 2.5 by 3.5, so then I would have the black border all the way around. So this is the part we're going to use to put on there. And let me show you what stencils that I used here. I got this pack from Walmart, so it's easily found. Most places have a Walmart. Of course, I'm sure you can order something similar to this online. But I wanted to do some birdies. We still have lots of birdies outside my patio door here. And we put out feeders, and I love them, hearing them. And so I wanted to do some with some birds here. So let me pull out, let me see if I can show you these. You can't see the background too good on that. So let me pull this little paper up underneath here, and let me see if you can see it. Yeah, I think you can see it a little bit better. So these are the patterns that it has on it. Some of these were too big for my ATCs, so I didn't use all of them. Let me show you this second one. There's actually 3 in here, so when you're done, there's 17 designs. But I really liked these 2 up at the top here. You can see both of those. And the bird is really cute, and then I liked this one down here as well. Let me show you this 3rd one while I'm here in case you're interested. This one was really too big for that. But of course you could always not have all of it. You could pull some of it up. You know, if this was your 2.5 by 3, you could use a portion of it, and some of it's just going to go off the page. But anyhow, I really liked these, and I think the one we're going to replicate now is going to be this one. This one's my favorite. So let's work on that little guy. And I'll show you how fast and simple this is to do. This is this one here. So I just put this towards the bottom and kind of lined it up. Of course it comes off the page right here, but that's okay. Let's just kind of do it right in there. It's kind of towards the bottom. I'm going to use a little piece of washi tape and tape this to the top so it doesn't slip on me. Right there. So what I did first then was just use a pencil and trace around that. So I'm going to do that now. Pull that in a little bit, and we're just going to go around with the pencil. Now you could also get a stencil brush or a dauber and some ink and do the same kind of thing. But I'm just going to go in and out of here and trace all around this, and then we'll be right back. Got all that traced, so I'm going to pop that off of there. And we've just got our pencil drawing here. So the next thing I want to do is use just a regular Sharpie, trace around it, and then I'll have it outlined. So I'll do that, and then I'll be right back. So now that I've got that all outlined, I'm going to go in and just fill in all of the open spaces. And then if I've got a couple of spots that I want to touch up, I've also got a thinner Sharpie here. So I'm just going to use an ultra fine tip to go around this just a little bit to sharpen up some of these edges and give it a little bit more crisper detail. Okay, and then I'm going to give him just a little bit of feet. There's no feet on that stencil, so I'm going to give him little feet so he's not just hovering against that branch. And I think that'll do. So now to finish this up, I'm just going to glue this right onto my sheet of black cardstock that I've already cut to 2.5 by 3.5. And I'm just going to use a glue stick for this. And center this up right in the middle. So I've got the border coming all around the edge. think that adhered pretty well. And that is all there is to this. So this was just a really fun way to do a simple ATC using some stencils. So whatever kind of stencils you might have on hand, or like I said, I found that set at Walmart, but anyhow, that's how they turn out, and I'm just going to be using these in my scrapbooks and junk journals. So that's it for today, guys. Thanks for joining me again. I'll see you next time. Bye.